All right. So with that, we're gonna get rocking and rolling. I know there's some others jumping in. It's always gonna be letting people in as they get on, but let's go ahead and get rocking and rolling here. I think I got it where I can see everybody. So first off, welcome 2022 plan. I know it sounds funny. There's still a whole nother month left in the year, but I don't know about you guys. We're pretty much wrapping up. Thanksgiving is right around the corner, and pretty much from Thanksgiving to Christmas, it's going to fly by like that. And once Christmas hits, nobody does anything anyway. And you blink again, and we're at the beginning of the year. And this is my favorite time of the year to start planning and prepping and getting everything ready for the next year. So felt like it would be perfect to start running this webinar right now. I'm going to probably run it a couple more times in December, and we'll probably even run it once again first part of January. So I say that because we're going to cover a lot here tonight. We're going to start talking about your 2022 goals, not your 2021. I missed that one and accidentally hit 21 when I built this out. But in case you don't get it all in tonight, in case you want to get back on at another time, don't worry. We're going to do it again. You'll be able to jump back in and kind of refine this over the course of the next month, month and a half. I'm going to spend a little bit of time tonight talking about some of the main fundamentals, really the three fundamentals of marketing success. This way you guys can understand what has to really be happening on the marketing side. I know a number of you guys on here right now are actively clients of ours anyway. So you've heard me talk about some of this in the past, but for those that are not, maybe this will be some new stuff. And man, I really messed up this slide. I'm so used to typing 2021. I just caught that myself. We're going to talk about how to optimize your website for conversion, not just to look good, but actually get it to convert. And then big picture, we're going to go all around online marketing channels. And really, I want to tap into how to maximize the lead flow. I'm going to talk about some trends going into 2022 that we're already seeing that we want to be paying attention to. And my goal is, by the end of this, you guys will be ready to start developing out your custom action plan. Now, to get through all of this, let's get some attention. Big thing, turn your phone off, get off of Facebook, get off of Instagram. Really, I should say, get off of TikTok, because that's the one that seems to like suck us in. And we end up in that TikTok trance and we can't get anything done because we're just sitting there and 30 minutes has gone by and we're like, I've watched a bunch of dumb movies on there. But I promise you, if you are really ingrained in real estate and you are serious about making 2022 a good year for you, what we go over the next 60 to 90 minutes is going to help shape that. I don't know about you guys, but I personally believe the marketing side of our business is the bloodline. Now, if you stay to the end, I promise this will all make sense. It's going to be some work, but we will get through it. So who am I? In case you don't know who I am, there are a couple faces and names on here that I don't necessarily know fully or have had a chance to know, but we are also streaming this out there on Facebook too. So in case there's somebody out there, I am the founder of a couple different real estate companies. I've scaled those, sold those. I'm still actively doing real estate and building a real estate brand out. Many of you guys know I've spoke on stages all over the country about this topic of real estate investing. It's my passion. I've tried to get away from real estate. Short story, when Roger and I came together and created REI Toolbox and Top Results, we actually ignored REI Toolbox initially. That was the first idea. I told him, no, I wanted to be done with real estate. I wanted to get the heck away from it. And somehow a magnet just keeps pulling me back to it because I freaking love it so much that I can't walk away from it. So very ingrained into the real estate side. And I absolutely love the marketing side of business. That piece of it has really always been something fun. So I'm going to share a lot of stuff tonight, not just from my experience, but also our experience working with hundreds and hundreds of real estate investors, real estate agents, real estate brokers all over the country right now, and what's going on with it as we start to plan out for 2022. And the other fun thing is, this is what our company does. Like everybody on our team, we've got some individuals who joke with Roger and I all the time. They're like, I don't even live in the United States, and I feel like I can move to the United States and do real estate because I know it so well just from all the work that we do. So good news, you're in some good hands. on that part. Now, quick question for you guys. Go to the chat, throw it in the chat. I think I can pull up the chat here in a second and see it. Go to the chat and let me know, what is the hardest part about marketing your business? And in case you don't have the toolbox or the workbook, go ahead and go to this link. Itzel, I think, put it in. Yep, it's in the chat. Go ahead and grab that that workbook and start downloading that. But put it in the chat. I got the chat up now on this screen over here. I want to know, what is the hardest part about marketing your business right now? And somehow Mark is drawing on my screen. Mark, I don't know what you're doing. James says, differentiating from others in the same business. Sal says, consistency of bringing in the leads. I really like, James, what you just said right there, differentiating from others, right? We're going to talk quite a bit about that when we get into one of the sections. So who else has got some struggles? I know not everybody on here is perfect, and there's others that, other than James and Sal, that are struggling. I want to know from you guys, though, what is it? Let's see, consistency to provide content that attracts the avatar. Okay, we're going to get into some stuff that might help on that front. Anything else? See what you guys throw in there. Larry says marketing for private lenders. I like that one too. Eric, another one on consistency. Okay, so I'm seeing a lot of the similarities here. Consistency on it. Now, why do you think this is? Why do you think these are the problems that we experience? Well, I can tell you this. One big piece on why consistency is such a struggle for not just real estate individuals, but really any business, is there's a ton of different options. What do I mean by options? There's all kind of different places to do it. Should I do SEO? Should I do PPC? Should I be doing Facebook ads? Should I be doing direct mail? Should I have bandit signs out? What is it? There's so many different places to go with this thing, and it's very unclear as to where do I really want to spend my time, my budget, all of these things to be able to stay super consistent. And this is where I like to bring in this idea of digital dominance. Roger and I literally just got off a podcast episode a little bit ago here today. We were talking about the difference in marketing a business today, 2021, rolling into 2022, and comparing that to marketing of a business in the 90s or the early 2000s. And I don't know how many of you guys were in business at that time, but just think back, the internet was just taking shape. The internet was still trying to figure out what was its purpose in the business sphere. Well, when we look at that, and now business has evolved alongside the internet, really the internet has made it easier for our business to market and be everywhere at one time. Right? One of the big problems is there's so many outlets. Where do I spend the time? Well, back in the day, there was still those same mass amounts of outlets. I had to put flyers in laundromats. I had to put billboards up. I had to get bench signs. I had to go knock on doors. I had to put fleets of people out in neighborhoods, because there wasn't this thing of text messaging and calls, and people were at work during the day. I couldn't cold call them because they would ring to their house phone, and what's the likelihood of that? So I had to wait and call at this other time frame, right? There was still those same troubles. The difference is the internet has given us this ability to dominate at a lot faster of a rate with little to almost zero work once we get it built up and get it running. So we're going to really dive deep into leverage the internet to do this. Now, the piece with this that comes is there's a big investment in marketing. Marketing is an investment into the business. And if you can make any switch right now in a mindset leading into 2022, if you look back at 2021 and you ask yourself, how well did I do? Did I hit the goals that I really wanted to hit? And then ask yourself this question, did I really invest into my marketing, or did I spend? And just that change a word. Did I spend on my money on marketing, or did I invest my money into marketing? Because an investment should have a return. If I spend money, I'm not really expecting it to come back. Well, I don't want to put money into a business, put money into a marketing and not get anything out of it. I want to invest into it, right? Because if I invest it, you guys are all investors that are on this call. This makes total sense. I invest money, I get a return. Typically, that return is going to be greater than the investment in it. I've got a really cool tool that I built for you guys to help you kind of break this down. But this is the problem that a lot of real estate investors, real estate professionals find themselves in. They've done marketing and they're sitting here with their pockets empty, like, I got nothing to show for it. I put money in, I spent a bunch of money on it, but I had no real clear goal, strategy, focus, anything. And I'm sitting here with empty pockets. So where's the opportunity at? The big opportunity comes when we understand what is our goal. And we really want to generate enough leads that we can hit our targets and hit the goals that are in front of us. So to figure out what is my marketing strategy going into 2022, I got to take a step back for a second first and go, what are my goals for the year? What is my plan? Where am I trying to even go with this? And to set clear goals, we're going to kind of look at it this way right here. Goals in your marketing and goals for your business are super powerful. Without them, you'd be like this sailboat sitting out in the ocean, not moving, waiting for that breeze to come along and push you, right? I'm just kind of sitting there, the sails are up, and I'm just hoping that the wind comes by. Stop and think for a second. How many of you guys have a business that maybe this is how it feels? I'm just here and I'm just kind of waiting for my ideal audience, my ideal avatar to kind of blow my sails, move me to the next direction. I'm waiting for that next piece. But if I have a clear goal as a sailboat operator, I know exactly when to throw the sails up, where to turn them, and how to always capture the wind in my sails no matter what. I'm not just sitting there waiting for them, right? Notice everybody's kind of leaning on one side. These people are operating the sails on this other side to keep the wind filling those sails. That's what goals do for us. We can clearly now measure, is the marketing that we're doing getting us closer to it, or are we sitting stagnant? But if you don't know, it'd be like trying to play football. If I got any football fans on here, it'd be like trying to play the game of football without any points and without a scoreboard and wondering who won the game. It'd be really hard to decide who the winner was without any kind of score to it. And this was an interesting study that was done. Harvard did this study of 1979 grads, and simply put, 84% had zero goals whatsoever. 13 had some goals, but they never wrote them down. 3% had really clear ones. They written them down and everything, and they really had a plan in place to accomplish them. And when they took a look at the results, 13% of the class who had the goals, they were earning about twice as much as 84% that did not. Even more was the percentage who had those really clear ones. On average, they were as much as about 97%. That 3% was doing more, had more than the entire other piece to it. And I don't bring this up just as a fun little study to talk about, but as we're closing out 2021, and I look at our own businesses, I look at what Roger and I have been up to over the last 12 months, and we've actually superseded what we set out to do this year. But the only reason I'm able to look and see that we did more than what we had set out to do was he and I were really clear last year on what winning this year looked like. And when I look at our marketing for 21, and as we're looking into 2022, we're already starting. This is exactly what Roger and I have been doing for the last couple of weeks. we're already setting some goals in place for 2022. What is the plan? What are we going to do different? What does our marketing look like going into 2022? What's the financial picture look like for 2022? Where is the mark that we're going to measure against? And what does that look like so that we can start to build the action plan behind it? So I want to start here with a quick goal setting framework for you guys. Number one, you've got to write them down and have a plan. Number two, you need to set at a minimum a 1-year goal. 1 year from January 1st. So think right now, if it was December 31st, 2022, what does winning look like? What is that goal as of December 31st, 2022? What does that look like? From there, you want to back this out and you want to break it down and say at each quarter point. There's a phenomenal book out there. I have it up here on the shelf somewhere. If I saw it really fast, I'd grab it. But in there, they talk about lead versus lag measures. Lead measures are just this. There are quarterly goals. You see, the lag measure is the ultimate. Our lag measure is December 31st, 2022. Whatever it is. Is it X number of deals completed? Is it an X number of dollar? Personally, I like to say a dollar amount. What's the dollar amount that I want my company to make by that point? The reason it's called the lag measure is the only time that we can measure if we've achieved that goal or not is on December 31st, 2022. Because that's when that goal matters. It's kind of like the final score of the game. But quarterly goals, these are the lead measures that decide if we're on track or not. I'm going to pick on somebody who's actually on the call right now, who I absolutely love and have not seen in quite some time. And she's shoving food in her face as I'm going to kind of put her on the spot. Not going to make you unmute, Leah. But I see Leah. She happens to be right in the center of my screen. She's one of my lionesses in the lion's den. And she's currently doing 75 hard. And there was a handful of reasons that she specifically got started with 75 hard. Not because she wanted to check the box and do it. She's already done it. Right? This is the second go around or third go around, I think now, for 75 hard. But there was really specific reasons why 68, 69, I think you're like, what, day 70 or something right now, somewhere in that range, 68, 79, 70 days ago, whatever it's been, that she said, I'm getting started. And there's a reason why she wanted to do it. And she wanted to get through and complete it. Well, the lag measure is get to day 75, right? But all along the way, I've been watching her as she posts little milestone updates, little things, 20 days in, 40 days in, 60 days in, kind of thing. And as she's been going through and posting those, it's been easy to see as the outsider that she's checking off the marks that's keeping her on track. And I know when she completes 75 hard here in a few days, if I called her and talked to her, she would give me the thumbs up that I achieved what I set out to achieve. But without those, it becomes really easy to give up when it gets hard. There's a reason 75 hard is called 75 hard, not 75 easy, 75 fun, 75 convenient, 75 quick, right? Business for the year is just that. It's a very long set. It's 365 days hard. There's no break in the year of business. So when it gets hard, it's these quarterly breaks that give us a little bit of an idea if we're on track. And then we take it down a step further and we go monthly. Every single month. This is something that I harp on our accounting side, our financial side. Sometimes our accountant and I kind of bang it out at times because I'm so adamant about wanting to see numbers for the month and numbers for our quarter. Not just what we brought in, but what did we spend and what was profitability like and how much did we actually retain and hold on to this month? Because if I've got a couple bad months and I'm not paying attention to it, and 6 months, 8 months, 12 months goes by, and all of a sudden I'm going, well, where's all my money? What just happened to the business, right? So having very monthly dialed in rhythms around this. Now I'm talking financial, but we do the same thing from a marketing side. Every month I take a step back and I look at, what did we do over the course of this month? How many leads were we generating? Did we fill the funnel enough? Did we create enough opportunities? Did we create enough solidified deals, right? All of these kind of components in there, because if it didn't work this month, I don't want to do the definition of insanity too long. I want to make sure I make a correction before next month and readjust the plan for there. So these stopping points are really what give you that ability to reflect. So right now, either in your workbook or if you're just taking notes, I want you to kind of think for a second and write down, what is your revenue target for 2022? As you look ahead, what is a realistic revenue target? What do I mean by realistic? If you guys are currently going to close out 2021 making $100,000, don't write down that in 2022 you want to do 5 million. I mean, I'd love to see you do it, but the chances of you going from $100,000 to $5 million in a single year, not quite, right? Be a little realistic and write down, what do you think your revenue target is for 2022? And this is why I say we're going to run this webinar a handful of times. I'll change it up each time a little bit, but to make sure that we're kind of thinking over the next month and a half, really dial this piece in. Number two, I want you to then take that number and divide it by 12. Take that number, divide it by 12. The reason we do this, that is how much you need to generate every month to hit that annual number. If you said, hey, Sean, I want to make $1,200 in 2022. My annual goal is $1,200. I'd say, great. Your monthly goal is you got to generate $100 a month. You'll hit your $1,200 for the year, right? Hopefully none of us are trying to go that low. If you can live off of $1,200 a year, we should probably talk. I've got a good job for you at a penny a minute. Okay. Now, start thinking about, and I wonder how many of you guys even know this level of detail. How many calls is that going to require? Or how many leads is that going to require for you to get there? Show of hands on the screen. I can see pretty much everybody. Just kind of raise your hand if you kind of have an idea of how many leads you need to generate that much money. Got Leah, and that's about it, raising their hand. That kind of knows. This is a big factor into it. We're going to use a sheet here in a minute to kind of break this down. How many of you guys know what is your average transaction value? What does the average deal that you do make you? If you know that number, write it down. And you'll see why we want to write these down here in a minute. We're going to plug these into some sheets. So I'm gonna go through a quick example, and then I'm going to de-share this, and I'm going to bring it up. And I've got a worksheet that I want to give you guys to kind of use to help plan this out. But let's say your target revenue is $1 million in 2022. In the real estate world, it is not difficult to generate $1 million in a year on it, unless you live in a market where your houses are like $2 or something like that. So if I wanted to make $1 million in a year, that means I need to generate $83,333 a month. If I can do $83,333 a month for 12 straight months, I'm going to make $1 million in that year. Well, let's say I'm typically a wholesaler, and my average wholesale fee is about $10,000. So my typical transaction value is about 10 grand back to me. That means I would need to do 8.33 wholesale transactions a month at $10,000 a wholesale transaction. And if I did that for 12 straight months, I would make my $1 million. Pretty simple math, yes? Anybody just have a big eye-opener moment there for a second? 8.33 wholesale deals in a month for every month of the year for 12 straight months to get to the million, right? If my transaction fee is 10 grand. Now, that helps me identify, here's how many deals I need to do. But we all know that the job of our marketing is to gain us the opportunity to do those deals. So we have to ask ourselves, what is the average conversion rate from caller coming in to closed deal? How many of you guys know how often you pick up the phone to how many times you sign contracts? Is that 5% of the time, 10% of the time, 25% of the time, 80% of the time? We want to understand, what is that conversion rate look like? How many times when I get a phone call, what is the percentage chance that that phone call turns into me signing on the dotted line, locking in a deal? And if you had that, you could divide your target by your conversion rate, and we're going to get some fun numbers. So let's say for our example that I close at a 25% close rate, meaning 1 out of every 4 phone calls I get, I lock up under contract. It's a pretty good conversion rate, yes? If I'm getting four phone calls and every 4, one of those turns into a deal. I did this for simple math for us right now. So that means 25%, and I need to do 8.33 deals a month to make my $83,333 to make my million for the year. That would mean that 8.33 deals over 25% means I need 33.33 leads a month. I need to be talking on the phone or in front of 33.33 people every month. And if I talk to 33.33 people with my close rate of 25%, I'll do my 8 deals for the month. I'll make my $83,000 at my minimum of $10,000 on my transaction fee. And if I did that 12 straight months, I'd make my $1 million. So when I start to plan my marketing, the marketing that I'm going to look at doing, how I'm going to generate the leads, the plan behind it has one number to know if it's working. If it doesn't generate me 33.33 chances to convert, I need to do something different. So every month I would look at my marketing and I would look at the number of leads that it generated. And if I was over 33 leads, I got a pretty good marketing structure going. If I'm under 33 leads, I obviously need to change something up, right? Something's not working to get me to the 33. It's not that the marketing strategy is wrong or a bad strategy. It's just not getting you the leads that you need based on your numbers. We all feeling good about this so far? Give me a thumbs up. How many of you guys have ever analyzed or thought about your business this way? Like breaking it down. I know some of you guys have heard it, but how many of you guys have actually sat down and done this and broken it down like this? Not very many, and it simply comes down to a lot of times we get lost. We're not quite sure. Looks like Aisa's trying to come in. I guess it's all jumped off. A lot of times we're not sure like how to put this stuff together. It sometimes takes somebody giving us a little bit of idea. So I've got a worksheet here. Just give me a second to slide the screen, and I'm going to pull this over for you guys. But Itzel, if you are still on, it looks like you are on. Okay. If you could throw the link to the worksheet in there, and then I'm going to reshare the screen here. I believe, did she put it in there? There it is. Okay. So Itzel just dropped a link in the chat box for a worksheet. And when you guys click on it, it's going to open up to a Google Doc like this. but yours is going to be in a view only manner. And you're going to have to make a copy of it for yourself so that you can actually do it. So to make the copy, you're going to just go right here to File, and you're going to scroll down to, my mouse is going dead on me again, right here, Make a Copy. And when you click here, you'll be able to rename this and put it where you need it and hit OK. And it'll open up into a new tab and give you a copy. That way you can plug in your numbers, okay? So while you guys do that, I'm going to go through kind of what this sheet is. There's two different tabs down here available for you. The first one we're going to talk about is it's built already to do the calculations that I just went through right there. If you notice here, I've already plugged it in. Let's say that my goal is I want to do $1 million this year. And that automatically tells me I have a revenue goal per month of $83,333. Now, I change this number here and I say, what is the average deal value? In our example that I just did, this is the one that I used, $10,000. But let's say I'm not a wholesaler, I'm a rehabber, and I typically can make $30,000 on a rehab. Well, notice how that just changed. I now need to do 3 per month to hit my 83,000 at 30,000 per deal. And if I still kept that same 25% close ratio, I only now need to generate 11 leads a month, right? But let's get a little realistic here for a second. How many of you guys feel like you really can close 1 in every 4 phone calls, 1 in every 4 leads? Now, I bet our conversion rate is probably closer to like 3 to 5% of the time, right? 3 to 5% of the people we talk to end up getting to that. So I'm going to play super conservative. I'm still the same rehabber. I still want to make $1 million. I still can make 30,000 per deal, which means I only need to do 3 a month, but I only close at about 3% of the people I talk to. That means I need to generate 93 opportunities a month if I want to make $1 million for the year. Show of hands on here. How many of you guys got into real estate to make millions and millions and millions of dollars and build a $1 million plus net worth? How many of you guys realized that it was going to require you to do like 100 freaking leads a month? You got 2 choices really at this point, right? The numbers don't lie here. I'm looking at it. If this was me, I'm looking at it going, I either need to learn to generate a lot of freaking leads every single month, or I need to get really good at converting, because I don't want to be converting 3%. Can I at least get this up to maybe 10%? Well, that changed the game a little bit. Now I don't need to generate as many leads, right? So I got to get better at converting. And just using this calculator right here, we can start to figure out where are the holes, what are the gaps, what's the likelihood. Maybe you're at 5%. We'll give you guys a little credit here. Okay, well, we're at 56% or 56 leads that need to be generated. That's not as bad, right? It's not almost 100. We're a little better there, but I had to get a little better at converting to be able to do that. Or I got to do something here, right? Because there's only so many numbers that I can control. I got to start going after deals that are going to make me more money. How many of you guys are trying to focus on the wholesale route and happy at maybe like 5,000 a wholesale deal? Anybody on here? That's very typical, right? I'm okay with good. Andy, I see you waving like crazy there. I'm good with making $5,000 on it. But if I wanted to make $1 million in the year and my average wholesale, all I'm going to do is wholesale, and my average wholesale price is 5,000, and I close at a 5% ratio, that means I need to do 17 wholesale deals in a year, and I need to generate 333 leads a month to get there. Do you see why suddenly the $1 million mark at a $5,000 wholesaling structure isn't like an overnight thing? It doesn't just happen, right? So if this was my structure, my focus as the marketer in the business This is the only number that matters. Every month, that number tells me whether I'm winning or losing. Because if I don't generate at least 330 something leads, the chances are I'm not hitting this goal by the end of the year. This number right here is another one that's blaring in my face, 17. If I'm not doing 17 transactions in a month, it's going to get really hard for me to get there, okay? So step one of all of this is I want you guys to play with this after we get done tonight and start really kind of plugging some numbers in and get really realistic and ask yourself, like, what is my revenue goal for the year so that I know what I need to be making every month? Really ask yourself, like, what is my average? What is it that I'm going to what is it that I do? And then this is the other number that you got to get really serious about. What is my conversion rate? Like, let's get serious about it. And for some of you guys, it might be like 1 or 2%. That's okay. Others of you might be a little bit better. Maybe you convert a little bit more frequent. But you got to be serious about these numbers to yourself when you plug these into the sheet so that it gives you a really clear picture of how you're going to get to this goal right here. Because just saying, oh, I want to do $1 million next year and I'm just going to do like 5 rehabs, 6 rehabs, and I'll try to get there, doesn't work, right? Or, oh, I see Chris is on here and Leah's on here. You guys are more on the agent side. Well, I want to do $1 million in the year. I'm just going to, get a couple sellers and a couple buyers, do a couple deals that way, and I'll be good. It doesn't work that way, right? Because there's no real kind of focus on it. Now, the second side behind this here, this is going to help you identify. So once I know, all right, here's my revenue goal. There's my monthly target. There's what my average deals are. Here's how many leads I need to convert. Cool. Now I can go, how the heck am I going to get there? What does my marketing look like? And I can start to plan out my marketing budget because I'm going to need to invest into marketing to get there. That poor wholesaler at $5,000 a deal trying to make $1 million, they better invest some money into getting 333 leads a month, right? So we're going to bring that person over here. They want to make a projected revenue of $1 million. We plug that in. This box here is asking how much, what percentage of that would you like to invest in to the business? On average, 8% is like a good rule of thumb. 3%, can kind of get away. It's being very, very conservative. 15 is like the high end. That's being very aggressive. So let's just go here and leave it at 10%. If I want to make $1 million, I'm willing to invest 10% of that into it. So I'm willing to dump $100,000 into marketing for the year to make $1 million. How many of you guys right now, you're all investor mindsets. If I said, give me 100,000 right now, 12 months from now, I'll give you $1 million. How many of you guys will go find a way to get $100,000 to 12 months later, get $1 million, right? It makes sense there, but for some reason, when we start to look at our marketing, we go, oh, hold on a second. Let me tighten up let me get a little tighter here. I don't want to let that money go, right? That's the way we got to look at the marketing. We're investing it in to get that back. I'm investing it in to get that back. If your marketing can generate $1 million in revenue every year, I bet every single one of you guys would go throw the $100,000 into it if it was doing it, right? That's the idea. We got to get it doing just that for you. So I say, all right, I'm going to go 10%. Then I go here and it asked me allocations to my online, to my offline, and to repeat business. The reason I have repeat business on here, Leah, Chris, you guys are very familiar with repeat business on here, right? You got people that are buying multiple homes. You got people that are referring people all over the place to you. You got people that are buying a house today from you, and a year from now, maybe they buy their second or third home or another investment home or something like that, right? Investors, repeat business still happens for us. It might not be the same person selling us the same distressed house, but they might have a friend or a family member, or guess what? They might have multiple homes. And this time they're getting rid of this one, but then they eventually tell you about this one and this one over here. So we still want to put a little focus to it. And I'm going to talk in a little bit on some trends and why I would suggest like 50 to 55% of your marketing budget be on digital online marketing going into 2022. I'd take about 35 to 40%, depending on what I did here. 50, 55, I'm going to go 35, 40% here, offline type marketing. And I'm going to save another 10%, 5, 10%, depending on what I do with those other numbers. And I'm going to use those for other stuff for my repeat side of things. Okay. So I would plug those percentages in and it shows me right over here. That means of this $100,000, we're going to put 55,000 in online. We're going to do 35,000 in offline. And I'm going to put about $10,000 into some other stuff for repeat business. Okay. So pretty clear picture on where my money is going to go in the marketing plan here. This will automatically break it down for you and say, okay, January, February, all the way through. Now, you could go through and change these up if you wanted to, and it would adjust this percent. But basically, we're going to evenly spread that across, which means I'm going to spend online every month about $4,500 and change in online marketing. I'm going to spend about $2,900 a month in offline marketing, and I'm going to spend about $833 a month in other stuff. I don't need to have the full $1 million for the year to get started. January is right around the corner. Benchmark number one, I want to make sure I got money ready to go to lock out January. Then I'll get my money together for February and my money for March, right? But I have a clear picture now of what am I spending every month on there in those categories based on what I've allocated, based on a goal, not just throwing you know what on the wall and seeing what sticks. Now we scroll down a little farther, and these are kind of the 3 key areas from an online side that I would suggest. I'm not saying just 50 to 55% on your digital side. I want to break that down now. Let's peel that onion apart a little bit deeper. And of that 55%, of that 55 grand, of that, SEO, 55%. So 55% of my overall budget is going to digital, but 55% of that 55% is going at SEO, the organic side of things, right? Pay-per-click, social media ads, this type of stuff, do about 40%. And display ads, retargeting ads, other forms of advertising online, I'm going to probably pull 5% over there. Maybe I go 50, 35, 10, something like that in there, balance it out. But I would put a good 50, 55% at SEO. I'd put another 35, 40, 45% into PPC. And there's a reason why that 1-2 punch is really, really powerful. And then I'm going to take the rest and I'm going to do some other stuff with it to help kind of bring the conversion over. So now I can see, all right, for the year, that means I need to have about $30,000 in my SEO. I need to be ready to spend about another 22 grand in pay-per-click. And I need about another 2,700 bucks in display ads. Well, suddenly, how many of you guys, when we first started looking at this, going $1 million or $100,000 in marketing? Holy crap, where the heck am I going to get that from? Go back to the rehabber. That means I got to do one deal. I fund my SEO budget for the year. I need to do another deal, funds my PPC for the year. And I need to maybe wholesale one thing, and I got that done for the year. So if I can hurry up and in January knock out 3 transactions in January, did I just pay for my marketing budget for the year, and everything that I do after that is working me towards my $1 million a year income? Absolutely, right? I don't need to have it first. I just need to have a clear picture. Suddenly, SEO, 30 grand, that's not too scary. If I can go rehab a house for $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in profit, cool. I'll go get that out of the way. And now I've got it funded and I'm ready to roll, right? Same thing with my SEO, same thing with my other stuff. And same thing as above, this over here kind of breaks it down. And it's like, okay, from a monthly standpoint, SEO, I need to be about $2,500 a month. From PPC, I need to be at about another $1,800, $1,900 a month going into my PPC budget on there. Because some of you guys could probably already look at what you got and readjust and reallocate funds that you're spending and look at this and say, where do I want to maybe bring in or change my game plan from what I've done in 2020, 2021, going into 2022. Is this making sense so far? Yes? Give me some stuff in the comments. What's kind of been your big aha so far on that sheet? Or feel free to unmute yourself if you'd rather just say it out loud.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yep.
What's up? Question. So based on your breakdown, it's great, by the way. That spreadsheet is amazing. It's like it just does all the work for you, like no brain damage. I want a copy if you're gonna give that up.
The
But
links in the chat. Make sure you go click on it, get it. You may be able to make a copy for yourself.
appreciate it, Sean. You're the man. Question. So in that breakdown, like $1,200 in PPC, some of the PPCs like depends on the area, but like $150, $200, $300 per click. Don't you think it's gonna absorb it all quickly, or would you target other keywords that would be more strategic to like stretch it out?
Great question. And absolutely, right. This is just from a planning standpoint, right? I want to plan a little bit, figure out where the budget's at. But at the end of the day, data always will dictate what adjustments we make in the game, right? I kind of go back to football when I use these, or football is a great analogy against this. And here's why. I'm a diehard Ohio State fan. And every time I watch an Ohio State game, one of the number one things the commentators always say about Ryan Day, the head coach of the Buckeyes, is he's such a phenomenal in the moment, in game adjuster. And when you listen to Ryan talk about his pregame strategy and you talk to him after at a post game, that's the one thing he always brings up is how quick he's able to see what the defense is suddenly doing against his offense. He's an offensive guy. And make adjustments in the middle of the game and get away from an original game plan, make an adjustment. And it's why Ohio State's been such a powerhouse that they've been, right? Nick Saban's another great example of this. Why has Alabama been the biggest power? Because they know how to make in-game adjustments. Marketing is the same thing. Every month, our data is going to dictate what's the in-game adjustment I need to make. Andy, to your point, if I'm getting a lot of clicks on a keyword and it's converting, but that click's costing me money, but it's converting, I'm getting deals off of it, I want to feed that keyword more. I don't care if it's costing me more money than my other keywords. I want to move more of my budget at it because it's getting me to my goal, right? But if I look at it and go, wait a minute, that keyword's sucking up a lot of money and we're not getting anything off of it, it's not really converting, it's just getting people to a page and they die, then I want to get the heck off that keyword and I want to shift and try to find a cheaper cost per click. Or I want to shift and find a different way to generate the opportunity, the leads, that isn't going to suck up the money so fast. Does that make sense there?
Makes sense. It's a moving target. You know, you got to cast the net with it. And every market's different, every city's different, right? So I'm with it. One more question.
But you can't do it without the plan first, right? Because you would have no idea what should I be spending.
It's like that's like being financially disciplined. What you created there in that spreadsheet is being financially disciplined. So I'm not spending too much here, too much there. And you got to water your plants or they're not going to flourish, right? So that's
absolutely.
Really one more question. If you had $40,000, how would you use that money for marketing?
You'd hand me 39,000 and then I'm kidding.
I knew where this was going.
Again, I'm going to go back to the goal, right? I'm going to literally plug numbers into that spreadsheet. If you and I got on a call and you said, hey, Sean, I got 40 grand, let's talk. My first question would be, how much do you want to make next year? And what are some of these, what do you convert at, right? What's your average deal transaction? Because let's not try to guess. Let's just let the numbers dictate. Here's what I want to make. Here's what I can typically make on a deal. Here's how quick I can convert opportunities. Great. This is how many leads that you need to generate. Now let's take that and go figure out how much can I get? Where am I going to push that 40,000? And is it even going to get me to that number? Or do I need to make some adjustments over here first and get a little more realistic, right? Or I got to go figure out how to get more money, which I see Chris put, that was his big aha, was like, I don't need to have the entire annual investment into my marketing right now. I just need to have a clear picture on what it's going to take me so that I can get to work, right? And go get some deals doing so that I can reinvest it back in. And now I have a clear picture. I need to hurry up and get to $100,000 in that example. And now I'm set for the year. Roger and I are actually going to be doing a podcast episode next week. We're bringing a client on and doing a case study video where he actually messaged Roger and I and said just that. Like, he just did 2 deals off of some stuff we helped drive for him, and those 2 deals have paid now for his next year's worth of SEO marketing.
Sean,
He didn't
this
have
is
that at
Sal.
the beginning, right? But he's
Hey,
now done
Sean.
those 2 deals, and he's able to dump that back in. Go ahead, Sal.
Hey, Sean, sorry for interrupting, but Sean, just, you hit on something, aha moment. When you talked about at the beginning, about writing down your goals, this is one of the steps, I would imagine, because it's making me think, aha, and all the different opportunities that this could bring.
100%. It's in the other room. I have a big whiteboard up on the wall, and there's a dollar amount at the top of it. I wrote it on the top of that board in January of 2021. And I told Roger, that's our annual dollar, like, not our annual. That is our monthly reoccurring goal for 2021. By the end of 2021, I want us to be at an MRR of this. And I wrote that number up there. And because I go in that room every day and I'm sitting there and I see it, subconsciously, it's always been the mark, right? October came and closed, and I all of a sudden looked at some reports and looked up, and we were surpassed that number. But had I not written that number down, I wouldn't have had even a clue what were we going against, right? What was it that we were trying to do as a company and move that target? What was the target, right? It's like going to the rifle range with no targets out front, asking yourself if the rifle's dialed in. Can't tell. It's not hitting anything, right? Or Chris, you go into the gym, not being allowed to put any weights on a bar and trying to figure out what your max bench is.
Would work out too well.
No, it would not, right? So, all right, with that, let's dive back into some of the slides. Because once we have our plan and we understand what we are we're going to kind of allocate some funds, the next big thing is we need to get deep and really focused on the fundamentals of marketing. And this is the fundamentals right here. Market message media. Market message media. If there's 3 things that I would suggest you write down somewhere and put it where you see every single day for your business: market, message, media. Market, who? Message, what? Media, how? Think of it that way. Market is, who the heck am I going after? Message, what is it that I'm even saying to these people? Media, how am I getting in front of them? So we want to start updating our market message, this marketing message to begin with. And to start there, we got to understand who it is. And those of you that are already TRC clients that are pretty active on our Monday night calls, you've heard Roger and I dial deep in this a lot. Who is your ideal customer? And if you're a TRC client and been active on our calls every Monday and you still don't know who this is, I'm going to fly to your hometown and smack you over the head. Because we've drilled this home so much because it's that important. I don't care how awesome you are as a company. I don't care how great your messaging is. I care less how cool your website looks. I don't care about what you're doing in business. If you have zero clue who you're going after, you are like a hamster running wild on a wheel. You're just kind of chasing whatever and you have no idea what it is. It becomes like night and day difference when you know exactly who you're going after. Why? Because my marketing can speak directly to them. Think about this webinar right now. Everybody on this webinar is in the real estate niche, whether you're an investor or an agent. Why? I didn't promote this webinar for all business. I promoted this webinar for real estate. Spoke right to the real estate folks and said, let's get your real estate internet marketing plan for 2022 dialed in. Made it really clear for those of you that are in real estate to look at that and go, you know what? I need to be on that. I need some help with that. Marketing, struggle. Internet, struggle. Real estate, yep, that's me. Cool. I need to be on that, right? Sometimes as real estate individuals, real estate professionals, agent and investor, we really don't know who we're trying to serve. I ask you and you're like, well, I just buy houses. No, you don't just buy houses. Who is it that you serve? Well, I help everybody. No, I know you can help everybody, but who is it that you like? Who is it that you want to go after? Well, I don't know. I work with anybody that wants to sell me their house. Those are the same individuals that 3, 4, 5 months go by and you ask them again. They're like, no, I haven't done anything because I really can't figure out how to get anybody to pay attention to me because you're leaving people confused. So a couple ways that you could really dial this in is really figuring out your customer avatar. And I've got another resource. If somebody needs some help really dialing in your avatar, I have a really detailed worksheet that'll help you map out stuff like that you're going to see here on the screen over these next couple slides. Things like your demographics. What is the demographic of the person? Are they're a homeowner, right? Maybe they're 35 plus years. It's a female. They're married with 2 kids, head of household. They make $65,000 a year. They're family oriented. They're super reliable. They get frustrated easy. They like to kind of please other people. They're not very handy. That's why they can't deal with their distressed home, right? You see how suddenly, just if I only gave you the demographics and said, go find that person, go talk to that person, it'd be really hard to know who I'm trying to get my message across to, right? That's the demographic of them. Now, I also want to know, what are their pains and frustrations? My ideal avatar, what's their pain? Maybe it's something like the bank's calling them nonstop. Because they're what? Pre-foreclosure. In foreclosure. Bank's calling like crazy. Bank wants their money. Well, that's a pain. That's a frustration. That's an annoyance that they're going through. I could build marketing messages around that. Can't get an attorney on the phone, or they're afraid to get an attorney on the phone, or the attorney says they'll call them back and they never do, right? Or they're afraid to even call the attorney because they're afraid how much it's going to cost them. These are other typical pains and frustrations. Their house is leaking like crazy. The roof's about to cave in. They don't even have the money to do it. Or like their demographic said, they're not handy enough to fix and patch that themselves. They're too busy. Maybe they're worried that the situation is going to be like unhealthy for their family. They're stressed. They got kids at home, this type of stuff. If I can think of their fears, their frustrations, their annoyances, it's almost like I'm in their seat for a second. And if I could feel that same annoyance and fear and frustration, I could really figure out what would ease their mind. What message would make them feel like I need to be with that person. I need to call that company. I need to be there. Other ones are like fears of their implications. But I also want to know, like, what are their goals? What are their desires? Maybe their goal is to just get out of this financial rut that they're in. They're losing their house. They just want to figure out a way for a fresh start. What's the best way for me to just get out of this thing, have a fresh start, and get going again? Well, you guys as real estate experts, you can help with a number of components of that. But if you're not paying attention to that and speaking to that, how do they know that you can help them on that, right? So these are some of the areas from the avatar standpoint that you want to focus in. And I love this saying right here. If you can see Joe Jones through Joe Jones' eyes, then you can sell what Joe Jones buys. Think of that for a second. If I can see what my customer with my ideal client, if I can see just like them, if I can be in their seat for a second, feel it, and I can be there with them, then I know exactly what they need. I know exactly what they need to ease that out. It's the hardest thing for a business owner to ever do, is to stop for a second and stop thinking as the business owner, stop thinking as the person striving to make that $1 million, and really ask yourself, what is it that my audience, my customers are truly experiencing? Something Top Results is going to be changing come December is going away from 1 day a week phone call or training calls on Mondays to every single day of the week. Why? The more I sit in the young real estate investor seat trying to get going, what did I wish I had when I was getting started? I wish I had really clear trainings every single day. Somebody to just tell me, do this, do this, do this, do this, do this, right? And I can just focus on this today. And then tomorrow I can get on another call and look at them and they go do this. That's why I excelled in sports, because every time I'd show up to practice, the coach would say, do this, boom, I'd learn it, I'd do it. The next day it was like, do this, boom, I'd do it, I'd learn it. Business is no different. So as Roger and I started to evaluate, like, what do we need to do to make our clients even more successful, do more? It was like, oh, start running more trainings like this. Monthly webinars are great. Weekly podcasts are great. Weekly trainings are great. But what if I had all of that and I had a daily call where I could just coach them and help them and answer the in the moment questions when the frustration's setting in and give some guidance around it? You think more people would become more successful? And it took us a minute, because this is hard to stop for a second and sit back and go, let me look at this from their angle, right? From my customer's angle. So I challenge you to stop for a second and look at your audience, who it is that you typically try to help. If you're more on the bankruptcy side, like, try to experience. I know you might not have gone through bankruptcy, but try to experience, like, what's going on in the moment for them. What are the thoughts, the fears, what's happening? Try to be that person. Heck, if you need to, I don't want to say go become bankrupt, but maybe go talk to a bankruptcy attorney. Go sit in on and try to listen, if you could, something to give you a better understanding of what they're going through, so that you can start to adjust. Because when we do that, we can start to craft our message. I forget who said it at the start of this. You said you were having a hard time figuring out what to actually put out there in your marketing. Well, this all goes away once I know who I'm talking to, because now I can craft a message for it. So here's a couple questions. I'm going to give you guys a minute or two to just kind of jot some ideas down, but this is something I want you to really spend some time on after tonight's training. And that is, ask yourself this: why should someone choose to do business with you versus your competition? But the real challenge isn't just answering that question. The real challenge is answering that question going beneath the surface. Meaning, why should somebody do business with me versus my competition? It's far deeper than, well, I'm better than them. Well, I'm more eager than them. I don't know. I'm wild and crazy and bubbly, and I'd love to run around and drink my ketones all over the place. That's why they should choose me, right? It's way deeper than that. Ask yourself, why is that? Like, what makes you special as the individual conducting the business that makes them want to do business with you? Why do so many real estate investors come to Roger and I for their digital marketing? Because at the end of the day, we both have been in and still are in and still do real estate. I probably still have my thumb on the pulse of the real estate world nationally better than some of the clients that we actually work with. Could they get the same marketing service from another digital agency? Absolutely. But are they going to get it from somebody who gets the real estate world, who understands what's going on, who's paying attention to it, who's got the thumb on the pulse? That's what makes TRC, REI Toolbox so unique, right? You got to look for that in your business. You versus another real estate professional. Why should they choose you over them? The second one is, what benefits do you offer that your audience will resonate? One of the things that we offer that everybody seems to love, it's our trainings. Why are we going to the daily training? Because everybody loves them. Very few digital agencies are going to spend the time or the energy training their clients. Why? Because they'd rather you guys go and pay them all the money to just do it, not teach you what to do, right? Going to hide the secrets. We let all the secrets out because we know how much work goes into it. We'll teach you it all. And if you can go do it on your own, great, empowered, right? But start asking yourself, what are some benefits that you can offer that your audience will resonate a little bit with? Maybe it's moving assistance. Maybe it's some other stuff. Maybe, I don't know, Leah and Chris on the real estate agent side. Maybe it's you're gonna, put them, Chris, you got a really cool one with the loan programs. Like I got almost, you can guarantee funding if you're working with a buyer in essence, right? Maybe not use the word guarantee, but you see where I'm going, right? You've got something very unique in your corner that not every other agent has. That's a reason why they should choose you, and that's a benefit that they would align with, right? Think of those, because that's what's going to help bring your messaging together. So just a couple that I jotted these down really fast that give you guys some things to think on and start to go deeper around. Not that this is the be all end all, but stuff like quick solutions for their problems. If you could clearly define what some of these quick solutions are, speaking directly to their problem, they're going to start to align with you a little faster. Straightforward offer, right? There's a lot of investors out there that just beat around the bush, that drag people through the mud, that ring them around like crazy and never really give them a clear offer. You could be like, very straightforward. Here it is. This is what I would do. Here's how we would be able to do it. If you need me, this is how it would happen. Other stuff, trustworthy like a trustworthy representative, trusted representative, experienced representatives, this type. If you have a team, right? One thing I love about us is that final one that I put there, experienced representatives. Itzel's on this call right now. I could literally throw her on the spot and pretty much ask her about 90% of something in the real estate space. And even though she's in Mexico, has nothing to do with United States real estate, I bet she'd be able to somewhat handle that question, handle the discussion around it a little bit, and make you guys feel confident that she knew what she was doing. That's a big bonus, right? For the owner of a company to know that his team can kind of go to that level and be that trusted in front of their clientele. Well, that's a message that I bring up all the time when I'm talking to prospects and talking to potential opportunities, is you don't need to deal directly with Sean or Roger. Itzel, Max, Nimitz, the team that you're going to deal with on the regular, they know this stuff. And if they don't, they know exactly how to get in touch with Roger and I to make sure that they do the right piece, right? They're very trusted in this. The other thing that you want to start to do is really make the case around these kind of like bullet points. Fast turnaround. Some of you guys advertise and market out there, real estate investors, that we'll give you a fast cash offer. And then we talk to you and it's like, oh yeah, I got that lead three weeks ago and I haven't given them an offer yet. Well, I thought you do fast cash offers. What happened to the fast element of that offer, right? So actually making the case around a fast offer, show it. Show people, like, I got this person got in touch with us. We were able to do our due diligence and get a solution back in front of them in 10 hours, 12 hours, 5 hours, 24 hours. Whatever it might be. Case studies around this. Money saving offers. This is more for our investors versus a realtor. Somebody that's on, well, she was on the call. I think she had to jump off, was Marie. Marie and Liz do a phenomenal job with this. They've developed an entire program where they literally break down the cost savings of selling to a real estate agent, an iBuyer, versus selling directly to them. Like numbers and all broken down, chart, the whole 9 yards, on video, break the whole thing down. It's point blank how much they save by working directly with them versus these other avenues. They really make the case on that. Same thing around solutions, service, these type of things. So stop for a second and just kind of put a little thought to it. Maybe jot a note that I need to really kind of dial in what my message is, so that we can kind of move on to strategy. Just give me another thumbs up. We're all doing well right here. Anybody learning something yet? Got some head shaking. Cool. Am I going too deep, or you want me to go even deeper? Deeper? I see Andy pointing down deeper. James is like, just keep rolling, right? So once we have message, we know who, right? That's the market. We have our message. We know what the heck we're going to say. Now we can start to look at the media. And for this, I'm going to actually get a little more interactive and do some drawings here. Slides are great, but it's just something about good old fashioned whiteboard. And give me a thumbs up that you see the blackboard. It's not a whiteboard tonight. Okay. So on our strategy, this right here, get my pen working. This right here is what we call the accelerator method, or kind of the dominator method, right? This thing's going to help us skyrocket our business. And I apologize for terrible handwriting, but you guys will get the concept. You may not be able to read every word that I write, but you're going to get the concept on this. When we look at how do we explode, how do we grow, how do we take our strategy? Once I know who I'm speaking to and what I'm going to say to them, now it comes down to strategy. It's all about, like, where am I going to get this out to them? How am I going to get in front of all these people? Go back to the example. How am I going to get 333 leads coming in on me? Well, there's three critical areas of all of this. And the very first one is the leads. I need to start thinking about, to accelerate this, I got to put some attention on the lead side. Once I get leads coming in, though, I got to really start to pay attention to how well they convert, or my conversion side of everything. Then, once I have that dialed in, I can really start to optimize this for a higher ROI. Too often we get sucked into trying to figure out how to get a better return before we even really know how to generate leads like clockwork, or how to convert all the time. Fastest way to optimize is just convert better. Drive more leads, convert better, you'll get a better return. If you're converting more of the leads you're driving, your return is going to be higher, right? So let's go deep on the lead side. And when I look at this, there's three different components on it. Roger and I just did a podcast today on this, so I'm going to kind of go even deeper than what I went in the podcast. If you want the surface of it, you can go listen to that. But the first side of this is our website, right? The website really is the hub of all of this. And we're going to end tonight talking about how do we make sure our hub is really optimized to do everything for us. But our website is this hub, and it really helps us with our organic. Our organic way of driving leads. You guys all know what organic is. It's the search engine. Good old famous Google. Number one, number two, number three. That's the goal. I want organic traffic. People naturally searching something, finding me, and coming in. Now, to speed that up, the second prong of this lead generated side of this kind of strategy is our PPC, or our paid ads, whether that's on Google, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, TikTok, whatever other platform comes out. The paid strategy is the other component of all of this. But there's a third side of this lead generation that my strategy has to be dialed in on. And it's the one that I think a lot of people overlook. And that is your database. Your database. A lot of you have a database of names. You've went and bought a list, you've skip traced it, you brought it into a system, you've done a little marketing to it. The message was off, they never answered you. You said that list is junk, bad data. You went and bought another list. You skip traced it, you brought it into a system, you put a message out to it, it was the wrong message, nobody answered you back, you said that data is junk. You went over to this department or this company over here, you bought a list, you skip traced it, you brought it in, wrong message, wrong strategy, they didn't answer you, you said this stuff sucks. Sound familiar? Yet you got this database of people out there because you keep going and buying the data, bringing it in, putting the wrong message in front of them. And instead of cleaning up the database and going back at it with a better message and a better strategy, you went and bought something else. And you overlook the database that you currently have. So the organic and the PPC side, our organic and our paid, makes total sense. That's going to bring me new eyeballs in. But meanwhile, many of you are sitting on a database right now that's got gems waiting for you. Give you a quick little case study. Liz and Marie challenged them last week to do just this. Clean up your database and reattack it. What happened? They did just that. They put a little bit better message in front of them than they did 3.5 months ago. And all of a sudden, the phone starts ringing like crazy. Somebody that 3.5 months ago ignored whatever the message was that was in front of them because it wasn't the right message, 3.5 months later, a better message hits them and it resonates. And they realized, oh crap, this person can't help me and I'm still in that same situation. Did they go buy a new database? No. They just went after, they got a better strategy around what they currently have. So if you're starting to plan 2022, I would look at your current database and go, what can I do different? What can I change? What did I try before on this that didn't work? And what do I need to adjust? Who is that database? Go back to the avatar of them. What are their pains? What are their frustrations? What's the demographics around them? What would be a better message to say to them versus what I tried before? Does that make sense right there? I mean, you guys just had a big like aha light bulb moment. Probably realized, I think I have something in my database I can go generate up right now, right? I bet if you guys went hard on this just in the month of December, some of you would make one more deal happen before the end of the year without doing anything other than going back after the database that you've ignored for the last couple months. Now, from there, when we slip over here to the convert side, this is where our website really comes in. Our website is the #1 generator for our leads. Why? It's the central hub. All of our leads, I don't care if it's database, I don't care if it's PPC, I don't care if it's our organic rankings over here, all of our leads should be being pushed through our website. Think of your website like a store. If you guys were a brick and mortar business, the only way for somebody to come and do business with you would be to get to your store, walk in the door, grab the product off the shelf, and go to the register. Think of it that way. I need them onto my website to convert, to go to the next step with me. Go to my website, fill out a form. Go to my website, call me off the phone number that you see over there. Go to my website and download this. Go to my website, XYZ, right? Because if I can get them into my website, I can centralize the message that's going to help convert them. Because now I'm not trying to put the information that converts and sells somebody on working with me everywhere. I just need to put messages out there that get them right here so that they can see the final message to get them to convert. Does that make sense right there? Thumbs up. From there, the next one, the next element to this, it's not really the next one, it's just the next element, is your reputation. Your digital reputation. Some of you guys do phenomenal business as long as the person trusts what's coming out of your mouth or trusts what somebody else says about you. Because if they looked you up, you got 0 reviews out there. You got 0 reputation online. Reputation is like the icing on the cake. You're kidding yourself if you think that in today's day and age, 2021, rolling into 2022, that somebody from a direct mail campaign, a cold call campaign, a cold text campaign, sees a bandit sign, goes somewhere, is not going to go and look you up online to see what's going on, to see how legitimate you really are. I had somebody reach out to me today on Instagram, send me a private message on Instagram, wanting to sell me on XYZ service. I went to their profile, didn't see a link in the bio for anything. I clicked around their profile, couldn't really find anything. I sent them a message back. I said, I'd love for you to send me your website, send me something so that I can better understand what it is that you actually do. Oh, I've been too busy. I didn't spend the time to do that. I haven't really my business is driven by my results. Great. Show me where I can see the results. Show me where somebody can tell me the results that you've given them. Crickets. How much trust do I have in that person? How likely am I to move forward with what they offered? Right? Zero. We all understand that, but I challenge you, go look at your own stuff online and ask yourself, is your reputation digitally there? Because this could be the one thing that people will make a decision based on. Well, they had some really good Google reviews, so I'll do business with them. Well, Chris looked like a weirdo and a scary guy when he got to my door, freaked me out, looked like this Viking, sounded really nice, sounded intelligent once I gave him the chance to talk to him. But he had really good reviews online. Their company's really good online. So I'm going to go ahead and like Chris, right? And we all know that no Chris, he's a big teddy bear. But could his image maybe scare somebody the other way? But now play that scenario the other way. Chris looks scary and like a Viking trying to steal the house and has no digital presence, no online reputation, nothing out there from past stuff saying just how sweet and nice and like Care Bear style he is and how much he truly genuinely wants to help homeowners. Are they going to do business with you, Chris? No. No, right? Then you bring in Dad Sal and it's like, whoa, two big guys coming after me. So really pay attention to the reputation, right? And think about why I bring this up is your marketing should be trying to help boost your reputation. You should be marketing to past people that you've done stuff with, asking them to give you some good reviews, asking them to go and put something up there, asking them to shoot a video testimonial for you, asking for them to at least send you something that they loved about working with you on. Don't think it's just going to naturally happen. You've got to go and ask for it. And more than likely, they will do it. And you want to make sure that you get that out there so that it can help convert others for you. I was literally on a call the other day. The individual said, I'm going to move forward with you guys. And he was honest. He's like, I had plans to talk to 3 other companies. But after talking to you and hearing some of the names that you've worked with and helped, and those people and what their reputation is, and who they are kind of like in this sphere that I'm in, it makes total sense why they trust you, and therefore I trust you. And I saw some names on some of your websites and some of the clients that you work. It was literally Roger and I's reputation that solidified the whole entire thing. This is a big piece of it, right? And then the final one over here on the conversion side is automation. And I'm not going to go too deep into this because there's going to be a special webinar coming out in January all on this topic of automation. There's something really fun in the background that Roger and I have been working on. It's going to be coming out in January to really help on the automated conversion side of it. Stuff like text messaging, two-way texting, text reminders, just really being able to automate. They fill out a form, really being able to get right in front of them, walk them through a process. They call, you can't answer, being able to answer back immediately via text message without you doing anything, so that it keeps converting and warming them up and keeping them kind of moving through your sphere. Emails hitting their inbox, getting more kind of automation to really work this person through so that they feel like you're on top of it, even though you're all over the place, right? And you're maybe a 1 or 2 man show in this. So we're going to go a lot deeper into this, but this is a piece of your strategy. Now, once that's in place, we can end it with the optimize side of it. And I'm going to give you 3 metrics that I want you guys to start getting comfortable tracking on this. Number 1 is your total marketing spend. That's that worksheet that we just went through. What is that marketing spend that I'm going to put out? The second one is your cost per lead. These two numbers right here, number 1, number 2, I could figure out number 2 if I know number 1, because I can literally take this and go, I spent X dollars and I got X number of leads back in. Therefore, my cost per lead equals this. Because I spent this, got this number of leads. This means it cost me X number of dollars for every one of those leads. And when I know that, I can then look at it and go, what was my return on this investment? I closed X number of deals for X number of dollars in profit. And when this isn't what you like, the way to fix that is to get better at your cost per lead, which means I might need to change the strategy over here so that I can generate more leads, which means I might have to up or lower my total spend depending on what's going on. That makes sense? This is what encompasses your strategy in marketing. It starts by understanding who's the audience. Then we could shift to what is it that I'm going to say. Then I can start to ask myself, where am I going? Where are they hanging out? What am I going to do organically? What am I going to do paid around? What am I going to do with my database of people that I currently already have to get them there? And then how am I going to convert them? What am I going to do better? What needs to change on my website? These type of things, okay? So with that, let's go ahead and shift into, oops, I got to share the screen first. Shift into this to round us out, and then I'm going to open up to some questions. Let's talk about how do we make sure our hub actually converts. And your website, as I just said, is the hub of all of this. And I've got a couple examples that I'm going to use on here. You guys that are already our clients, you know we love to use JP's site, not because it's just JP. I think he's still on here. I love JP to death. But there's some things about JP's site that I just absolutely love that I think make his site convert far better than anybody else's that didn't do what he's doing. And one of those being, just look at that first snapshot, the header, the main section. I land on that page, and what stands out to me? It's not the brand colors. It's not the anchors. It's not the place of the form or any of the technical stuff that we sometimes get wrapped into. What makes me drawn in right away is that collage in the background of real people. And it makes me want to look and start to like, what is going on? And I see him down there signing papers, and I see him standing, shaking somebody's hand and smiling. I see, what do I see? I see a lot of smiling faces. And I immediately get this feeling that this brand helps people. I don't even know what they do, right? I'll play dumb for a second. But I immediately just get that feel that they help people. Now, there's a couple other things that really make it convert well, and that's the technical side of things, and it's some of the stuff that he has. Notice right there in the top corners, New Jersey, Florida, his 2 markets, really clear, right out of the gate. Boom, there's the phone numbers. I don't got to go looking for it. I don't got to search for it. What's hanging out on the left-hand side? Boom, social media stuff. You want to check me out on social media? Here's how you can get me. Here's how you can find us, right? What's the next thing that stands out really fast? There's a big, bold statement right in the middle of the top of that page. No hidden fees, no commissions. If I'm all I know is traditional real estate, and somehow I stumble on this page, I'm thinking, well, there are no commissions with this company? What do you mean no commissions? Every real estate person wants commissions. Draws me in, right? The final thing that helps it convert is the fact that, boom, they got a form to fill out. Low threat. I don't need to call. I could just fill out a form and do it. Another great example, Access Home Buyers. Another one that ran right out of the gate, kind of stands out in a few different ways. Obviously, the background image isn't as personable as Anchored Homes, but right away, phone number, top left-hand corner. Look at the call to action kind of text, kind of the standout message right there at the top. Text for your certified offer. I don't feel threatened anymore. I could text, right? Right underneath that, get my certified offer now. I feel like I can just kind of go to the next. I could just go ahead and click this, and I'm going to get a certified offer on this. But what's hanging out at the bottom corner? This little bubble and this little thing that's like, hey there, text me. A way for them to just chat right there on the spot. Now, same thing. Click that certified offer, boom, go to a form. Very easy. The person on the other end, the user experience behind this, a lead coming to this site feels easy to just go ahead and kind of go through this process. It doesn't feel high pressure. Why do most people today, 2021, leading into 2022, not want to pick up the phone and call somebody? They feel like they're going to get pressured into the next step. They feel like they're going to end up on the phone forever. Heck, I can't call this person. They'll talk my ear off and I only have 5 minutes. Well, I could fill that form out really quick. Okay, cool. Fill the form out. Okay, cool. I'll hit the little text bubble and just message them there, right? So here's a list of some stuff to start asking yourself. Is your website set up for conversion? And even though you're a client of ours, it doesn't mean that you're fully optimized for conversion. Some of this stuff is stuff you need to go do, right? So ask yourself, does it speak to my avatar? Does it address their fears and frustrations? Or is this an area that I maybe need to put some time into now that I better understand who I'm going after and maybe add some things to speak to them a little bit more? Does it have authentic images? Something that I personally believe should be on your website. That's why I go to JP's all the time. Personal images of the owners. Personal images of the people behind the brand. People do business with people. You want your marketing to convert better? Make them feel like they're doing business with a human, not a company. They want to connect with a human and do business with the human. Put a personal picture out there, a personal video. That's one of the things I have on here. Does it have a video element to it? Does it have something like a website welcome video? Does it have videos for your different services explaining some of these things? Does it have the components that help them feel that human interaction? Does it showcase your online reviews? Going back to my drawing just a little bit ago, reputation. Is it there? Can they see it? I believe this list is in your workbook. If it's not, just take a screenshot of this this page. But this would be a really good checklist to kind of go down and ask yourself, do I have this? No? Okay, great. This is something I need to work on. This is an element of my marketing that I need to dial up a little bit more. This is some stuff that I need to make sure is in place for it. And if you're a TRC client, all you need to do is get the stuff together and email support and tell them where you want it at on your site, and they'll get it popped in there for you. Quick, fast, and in a hurry, okay? So I'm going to give you guys like 2 minutes. Some of you guys may have 2 screens going. I don't know. Sal probably's got like 5 in his room or something. Take a look at, pull up your website. Heck, grab your cell phone. One thing that's always a fun task is grab your cell phone and go to your website from your cell phone. Is it mobilely optimized? What does it feel like on a mobile device? Because the majority of people, that's where we see traffic at, is they're in the moment, they're on their phone or they're on their tablet, right? Kind of take a look at that. And while you do that, I'm going to talk about the #1 problem facing investors today. And this is going to kind of lead us into some of the trends coming up in 2022. 50 to 60% of inbound leads end up leaving unconverted, meaning they get to your website, they call you, nothing ever happens. They fill out something, nothing ever happens. They try to get in touch with your company, nothing ever happens. 50 to 60% of real estate leads that naturally come in are unconverted. Go, let that sink in for a second. We go back to the beginning of this, and I said you're converting at like 3 or 5%. You're leaving a lot of opportunities out there simply because things are just getting missed. They're getting dropped. They're falling through the crack. They're getting forgotten about, whatever. 90% of web forms fail to actually convert. You get a form filled out and nothing ends up. 9 out of 10 people that fill out a form on a typical real estate website, nothing ends up happening after that. It's crickets. That's staggering, right? That's a hot individual in the moment, but nothing happens. It gets forgotten about, and they end up going probably to your competition. And here's why. Leads that are not followed up with in 15 minutes end up cold. Somebody calls your phone, they fill out your form, they send you a message through a chatbot on your message, on your website. If you don't follow back up with them in 15 minutes or less, they've forgotten about you and they moved on somewhere else. Blame that on the fact that way too many Americans are suffering from ADHD. Their attention span is like this big and they're off, right, to something else. Or they're just looking so much for the answer that you didn't answer them. Great, I'm going to go find the next person that can. The average customer must be followed up with 5 to 7 times before they'll actually book, before they'll actually solidify. Real estate, before they'll actually say, come to my house, it sometimes can take 5 to 7 times of following up before you finally solidify something. This is why so many get dropped, because we lack the follow-up ability. And then we blame our marketing. We say our marketing didn't work. But was it a marketing problem or a conversion problem? It was the conversion problem, right? I didn't hit my goals this year because I didn't get enough leads. No, you had plenty of leads. You just didn't convert very well because you let them go cold. You ignored them. Oh, they called me yesterday. I'm going to try to call them back tomorrow. You're going to go through this whole rigmarole of trying to figure out that they're going to ask you, like, who are you? What are you calling me for? And you're like, I don't know. You filled out my form. What? They've completely forgot you, right? Today's consumers prefer to interact via text message versus a phone call or email. How many of you guys got text messages before this webinar? How many of you got emails before this webinar? How many of you paid attention to the text messages more than you paid attention to the email? How many of you would have forgot about this webinar if it wasn't for the text? That's the fun one, right? Some of you are honest and like, you know what? The text is actually, oh, that's right. I got that text message a couple minutes before. That's right. I'm supposed to be getting on that thing. Where's the link, right? Text message is the preferred way. This is a big trend to be paying attention to going into 2022. Not necessarily cold text, but once they engage, they are more likely to stay engaging with you via texting than always having to get on a call with you or always needing to meet in person with you. If you're able to communicate text message wise, you will convert and stick people a lot longer. Leveraging the automation side. This is what we're really building and really focusing on in the real estate space. Coming out in January, we're going to be able to offer you guys a way that web forms, phone missed calls, email, all this kind of stuff could automatically, there could be automated follow-up pieces so that that 15-minute window doesn't become a factor anymore. They call, you don't answer, boom, within seconds, they get a text message asking them a question to try to keep them engaged, to kind of get them to text back again. You call them, don't get in touch with them, boom, being able to automatically kick them into an automated thing that sends them a couple texts a few minutes later, an hour later, 30 minutes later, whatever, a day later, saying, hey, I tried to get in touch with you yesterday. When's a good time to talk, right? Automating this process so that we can stay on top of them. Automated follow-up so that every prospect is touched 5+ times. That's kind of the goal. That's where we're going towards, okay? And as you look at 2022, this is some of the stuff in your marketing side that you need to be asking yourself. It's not just generating the eyeballs, the awareness, the lead. It's once I have them, how do I convert them? How do I go from a 3% conversion rate to a 5% to a 10% to a 25% conversion rate to where now I get on? Now, obviously, real estate, you'll never get to this number. If you do, you're like a beast. But in our industry, digital marketing, I get on with other agency owners, and I have about an 85 to 90% conversion rate. And they're like, what? And it's just because we've leveraged all of this technology that by the time somebody's looked at our stuff, interacted with us, gotten onto a stuff, said that you're going to be onto a call, our show rate on our calls is like 95%. I very, very rarely have a no-show because of all of this automation. And because of that, our lead flow, I don't need as many leads because I can convert, right? But if my conversion sucks, I got to have a lot more lead flow to try to convert around that. The goal is make every lead you generate more valuable. And it's time for you guys to implement this type of stuff in your business. And this is what's coming out in January. You're going to hear me start talking a little bit more about it through December. But by January, you'll be hearing Roger and I really talking about what we call Lead Vault and our kind of software that we're bringing together to help in this space. We got a handful of people in our beta program right now, testing it, real estate investors that are really using this thing. It's going to put it through the ringer over the next couple of weeks to really build out a number of things so that when we bring it to you guys in January, it's ready to rock and roll. You'll be able to jump in and boom. My goal is to watch your conversion rates just skyrocket because of it. So take a second before we open up to some Q&A here. Take a second and write down 3 things that you feel you probably need to implement on your website to make it convert better, whether that's videos, whether that's personal photos, whatever. Maybe it's changing up some of the messaging, adding some messaging, whatever it might be. Go ahead and write yourself a couple action items there. And I'll just give it a second. I'm going to end us with this key piece. Couple trends to look at going into 2022. Big one I want you guys to remember. Shift from phone conversation to message conversation. If you can think that way, start shifting away from feeling like everything has to happen on a phone call. There is a time and a place in real estate for the phone call. But there's also a time and a place and an easy way to get somebody warmed up or kind of in between some of those where some things can happen via text and you can really keep an opportunity moving down your pipeline faster. If you got away from feeling like I got to call him, we got to talk, kind of thing. And I get it. For some of us, that's an easy adjustment. For others of us, you know, the young Leahs of the world, it's very easy to text like crazy. But for others of us, not picking on you, Sal, Ronnie, some of the others that I know that are on here, that maybe you don't like text messaging so much, right? The problem is it's not what you like, it's what your consumers want. And we got to start giving them that ability, right? The other one is, the big trend is you've got to have an all-in perspective. You cannot be trying to play in just one tiny space. You've got to be thinking, I need SEO, I need PPC, I need to be on social media. Even if it's not a huge lead driver, I've got to be there because that is the shift. Everybody is going online at some point to look something up. And if you're not in all of these places, it's that omnipresence kind of feel that I talked about Monday night for our clients. If you're not there, it's not that you're bad. It's not that you don't know what you're doing in their mind. They just don't know you. They don't think you exist. They don't believe you because you're not there. How many remember the old saying, it's not true until it's on Facebook, right? So-and-so and so-and-so aren't dating or engaged until it's on Facebook. Oh, it's Facebook official, look out, right? You're not a real business if you don't show up on Google, if you're not on social media. If where they look for you, you don't come up, you're not a real business in their eyes. And I don't say that as a threat. I don't say that as a scare tactic. I say that as the advancement that digital has made in the lives of consumers. Thank you, COVID. The digital world has advanced because of what the world's gone through in the last year and a half, 2 years now. And consumers are embracing it faster than even Google thought possible. And they're making adjustments because of it. Things that they probably weren't going to do for 4, 5, 6 years. They're making those adjustments now because of what the world has come to. And there's not this, it's going to go back. This is the new way of marketing. And it's only going to get more. It's only become more predominant. I know a lot of big brands. I know a lot of big real estate investors that are spending $500,000, $1 million a year in marketing, that are talking about getting away from stuff that they used to do and going 55, 60, 65% of that budget into SEO, PPC, social, to really dial this in before everybody else does. It's the way things are shifting. As you look at 2022, start kind of embracing that and figuring out the strategy, the game plan, how you want to attack that. Okay. Remember, it's this all-encompassing kind of dominance around every area of it. It's not just one piece. It's a full circle of kind of attack out there. In your workbook, there's 2 pages. I believe they're pages 13 and 14 that are this checklist right here. This checklist, as you sit down and look at 2022, is going to help give you kind of the step-by-step pieces to start prepping, planning, and putting a game plan together. It'll help you identify what do you need to clean up. It'll help you identify what's maybe doing really well that you want to amplify and do more of. May even highlight some areas that you don't have in place that you need to start considering and looking at. Okay, so I would identify those 2 pages. Make sure you have those ready to go, as well as your action items. So with that, I'm going to de-share and let's get into some Q&A. And before we get into that, we are right at almost 2 hours now. I told you we were going to go for at least 90 minutes on here. If you got to jump, totally understand. If you're sitting there thinking, I want to go deeper in this, I'd like to talk a little bit more about this, whether you're already one of our clients or not, write this website down. And Excel, if you're still on, if you can type it into the chat for me, reitoolbox.com/breakthrough call /breakthrough call. reitoolbox.com/breakthrough call. Go ahead and schedule a time. You and I will jump on a private Zoom and we'll be able to kind of tear apart, figure out, help you get a better idea of like what is not working, what is working, what are some things that you could be thinking about. And then if you want to look at how can TRC, how can REI Toolbox help you do more of that or better of that into the 2022 year, we could start to look at that front as well. Okay. reitoolbox.com/breakthrough call on there. So with that, go ahead. Anybody that's live on the Zoom, actually, I'm going to do this since we were streaming live on Facebook and they didn't want to jump over to the Zoom. I'm going to stop the Facebook stream and only do the private Q&A with you guys here for showing up. So who's got what questions? I went over a ton. I know you guys have some.
Question.
Go for it.
When you were mentioning one of your other clients that they revamped their data, their message, their website, and then, it started to get some really good traction. What do you mean by recycling their data? What data did they have that they recycled?
What do you mean by the data?
Well, you were showing that chart, the black and white chart, and then there was like a case study with one student where they changed the message, they upgraded their presence on their website.
Oh, yeah.
And then it got momentum. And it's something about the data was being recycled. And I'm curious what data was being recycled.
Their database.
Database. Okay, yeah, that's the database.
So the task that I gave them was download your database and clean it up. Get rid of all of the things that are bad numbers, wrong numbers, undeliverable emails, people that told you to stop, don't contact me again, right? Scrub it all out, clean it all up, get rid of it, and really get a clean database now again. And then they were actually moving into a new software. And that's when you upload it to the new software, now you got a really solid, clean database of data that you know, these people haven't told you to go away, but they also haven't moved over to become a customer of yours. They haven't sold you a house or done anything. Go back after them. And that's exactly what they did. They cleaned it up, they uploaded it into the software, and they said, all right, let me rethink again, paying attention to who the avatar is, the demographics around this, and let me really kind of dial this in and say, let me give you a different message. And it started converting a little bit better for them.
And then they were calling and text messaging and leading them to the landing page, to the website to convert.
Yeah, they basically send, I think the attack was a cold text with just a very simple question to see if they can get them to engage back. And then once they engaged, then they directed them where they wanted to go.
Got it. Want to set up a meeting, Sean, next week or whenever you're available?
Links in the chat. That'll take you right to the calendar. Fastest way to grab a time that works for you and me.
Got it. Thank you, sir.
What did I just do?
Creative convenience. You captured me right now. He
Andy and I could have gone back and forth right now, said, well, what day are you available? What day? No, I'm not available at this time. No, right? Could have been really annoying. What did I say? Now, just go to that link. It's going to show you my calendar. All my available times are there. Grab any of them that are available for you. Simple, right? Simple, frictionless. Andy can now go do that on his time and really just, all right, this works for me. That time's a good time. Great. Let me grab that one.